Stu is dead. And if he is alive, I am done with the franchise and not watching any more movies. Because
so, if my theory is correct, you're like, no, I'm done with Scream.
I'm done. Hey, horror fans. Welcome to another episode of the Sons of Haddonfield. As always, I'm Ian, and that's Josh.
Hey, everybody. How's it going out there tonight?
We hope you're doing well, and we have a fun, exciting video. And as you can tell by my hat and my shirt, we're going to be talking about Scream, all things Scream.
I don't have any Scream stuff on.
I just meant me.
Do I need to go change? I can go change. I'll be right back.
No, you don't have to. You're good like that.
I'm good. Okay.
Suspicious.
So we're going to, repping Bailey Sarian. Come on. So we're going to be doing a little review about Scream 2022, aka Scream 5, whatever you want to call it. And then we'll do a complete franchise ranking at the end of the review. Yes?
So this is your official spoiler warning. If you don't want to know spoilers about Scream 5, please exit the premises and return after you've seen Scream 5.
GTFO 8
or
out.
Or you can stay, and that's up to you. But this is your official warning that if you don't want spoilers,
I cannot sit here and talk of my review with my bro on the computer, on my phone screen, without saying spoilers. I'm going to talk about the movie. We're going to deep dive the movie. So if you don't want to be spoiled, come back to this video later.
That is our recommendation.
Opening thoughts. Scream 5, opening thoughts.
Opening thoughts. I didn't know if they could do it without Wes Craven and make it feel like a Scream movie the way it should have felt. But they really did a good job in capturing Wes's essence for the film. That is my overall interpretation, just at a glance.
Yeah, I agree. I think he would have been happy with this movie. This is obviously the first Scream movie without Wes Craven since he passed away. He directed Scream 4. That came out in 2011. So this is the first one. But I didn't feel like he was missing. I feel like they did such a good job with keeping his spirit and his essence of what the Scream franchise is alive. But they also kind of built on that, in my opinion, too.
Yeah. And so I would be okay if the people that made 5 wanted to make a 6, as long as they kept that same essence and stuff in mind, because I would just hate for it to go off the rails and lose that Wes Craven essence.
So the directors are the directing team behind the Samara Weaving film Ready or Not.
Ready or Not.
Fantastic movie. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. And so I was pretty confident, from just knowing them, knowing they're giant horror fans and Scream fans, I felt good. Pretty good with what they were going to do, but they exceeded expectations on my end.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But just because someone's a fan of something, it doesn't mean it always turns out the way you want it to. Some of the reboots of Star Wars, a lot of people aren't happy with those, and Halloween Kills. I know a lot of people aren't happy about that. But
his name's Josh. He's sitting right here.
That's for a different time. But so let's dive into it, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
What were some of the fun things you liked? What were some of the Easter eggs to the other movies that we caught in there? I want to go over those. That's
so
good.
My favorite Easter egg. I am a big Scream 4 fan. I am a giant Kirby fan. And, you can attest to this. I've been saying all along that Kirby is still alive. I don't think she died at the end of Scream 4 because, what was his name? The killer in Scream 4? That dude? the Rory Culkin's character.
Yeah.
I forgot his name in the movie, but like, come on, man, that dude's not gonna kill Kirby. Kirby's a badass, you know.
I mean, a knife could kill anybody as badass as you are, but
Nah.
but the one thing I found really nice about them alluding to the fact that Kirby was alive, because she did an interview later that pops up in like a little YouTube search history when in the film, like in the 2011 film Scream 4, in the special features, I believe there's a scene where they're talking to Wes about is she alive or not, and he's like, well, is she dead? It was his response when they asked him. So he didn't come out and say she was dead, but he also didn't confirm she was alive. But I think she would have come back had Wes made Scream 5.
Well, I have a whole theory that we'll get into after the review about what I think Scream 6 is going to be, because I've worked up a theory, my friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Kirby, we got confirmation that she is alive. During it's like a Roxy Up Next kind of on YouTube, an interview with Woodsboro Massacre survivor Kirby Reed. So she's alive. Go for
my
it.
favorite Easter egg or hypothesis is about who Sidney Prescott's husband is. Because we know in Scream 3, there's a detective, Mark Kincaid, aka Detective McDreamy, for the Grey's Anatomy fans out there that might also like Scream. You think he's dead, but you find out later that she's married to a guy named Mark. And so I'm hoping Patrick Dempsey's character lived, and that's who Sidney's husband is, because we know they have like a little romantic relationship in Scream 3.
Yeah, I think that's solid. I don't think that's even a hypothesis. I think that's pretty solid confirmation there. Because the last time we saw Sidney remotely happy in a relationship or anything was at the end of Scream 3 when she was with Mark, and it seemed like they were kind of growing a romance there, a relationship. And so, yeah, I when she's talking about her husband Mark on the phone, I'm just assuming like, oh, okay, that's Detective Kincaid from Scream 3.
Yeah.
That's Mark.
Yeah,
So I think that's awesome.
There's no mention of him in Scream 4, which is why you're like, huh, is it him?
Yeah.
Is it not? Or is it just some other guy named Mark? But I would like to believe it was Patrick Dempsey and that he'll show up in Scream 6.
Another fun thing that I like about this one is just a really small little Easter egg. We all know Matthew Lillard. He's kind of fueled the fire that Stu is still alive, right? And he really wants to come back. He really wants to be a part of this franchise. Well, he was. He played the flamethrower Ghostface in the Stab 8 trailer that was on a YouTube channel during the movie. That's Matthew Lillard playing the flamethrower Ghostface. So he did get to come back to the franchise in some capacity. But if you stick around a little bit longer till the end of our review, you'll hear my theory and how it's not impossible that he does come back after all.
And you'll hear me bash that down with a knife or machete or something. Anyway, shall we continue? What's next in our little review?
What were there's other things, other little Easter eggs. We finally get mentioned of Tatum. It's like for the past 4 movies, it's like nobody even talked about Tatum. Like Dewey never talked about Tatum. Nobody ever talks about Tatum. We finally get to see like a little memorial that Dewey has in his house to Tatum. Like her ashes are there, and I thought that was really cool. It's cool that some of the characters have that family connection to the original characters in the original Scream. I like that.
Yeah, the legacy characters, they have that connection to them. I like how they took the idea of like a requel and like ran with that and made like Randy's cousin, Billy's daughter, and then like all the other characters from the original. They kind of Detective Hicks's son, he was there. Like I liked how they brought back elements from all the movies and infused the new blood into the story.
Yeah, and I like that the obviously we're watching Scream. We know we're going to get mention of different horror movies. We know we're going to get that meta aspect, and
Yep.
I really dug the movies that they talked about in this one. That late 2000s, they call it elevated horror
Yeah,
movie.
like the
The
Babadook, Hereditary.
Hereditary, It Follows, movies like that have been kind of like a cult success over the past, I want to say maybe 10 years, more like 7 or 8 years, but
Yeah.
around that time frame. So that was really cool to see and kind of hit right on the mark, stabbed the mark, if you will, the direction of horror right now and the commentary about it. So that was really cool. I like that.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Also, it was also a lot gorier than some of the other Scream movies,
Yeah.
and I definitely thought like it brought like the intensity that these movies
That was one of
require.
my favorite things about it was just the overall brutality of this movie. Like, yes, like the original Scream was brutal and gory, but then I feel like some of the sequels kind of got away from that. We were going so meta. It was turning into like a comedy horror at times. I feel like this movie, it kept all of that Wes loved, that he set up with the original Scream, but they added something to this one. You know, they added a darkness, they added a brutality. The Ghostface is, you know, this is a spoiler review that we have in this movie. The kills we get, whew, those are fun.
Yeah.
Those are fun kills. The gore, that's fun. They're fun kills, you know? So I really love the overall aggressiveness and the darker tones and darker imagery that this movie had. Kind of sets it apart than the previous ones, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree. Although some of the others are kind of brutal in their own way, this was definitely like in your face, like intense.
We have to talk about it. I literally, I got home after seeing the movie with you. I was talking to Nicole about it, my wife, and I was telling my mom, right? Because my mom's a Scream fan. She's seen them all. She just hasn't been able to see the new one yet. And she wanted to know what happened. I'm like, it's okay if I spoiler it. And she's like, yeah, that's fine. And so I had to tell her Dewey died. And I legitimately got choked up telling my mom that Dewey died. He got killed. He withstood all 4 previous Scream movies. He got stabbed, 9 times, I think it was. But he meets his demise in this new Scream 22. And it was tough. It was a tough, emotional scene. But it was tough because you're a fan of the character. You're invested so much in the character. But I do feel like they had to kill one of the big 3.
They had
I'm
to.
talking Gale, Sidney, or Dewey, and they're not going to kill Sidney. They're not going to do that. So, it was either Gale or Dewey in my mind who was going to get killed. It ends up being Dewey, but I don't have any complaints because my most hated thing about Scream 2 is that they kill Randy and they do it in such a nonchalant fashion. Like, Randy was one of the originals. He came back for the sequel, and they just discard him. Dewey gets his proper send-off, in my opinion, in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, he has survived 4 films, so that's a little bit more extreme than surviving 2 films. But they did bring back Randy for Scream 3 in that little video tribute, that little meta thing. But
yeah,
it's not as great as it could have been. That kind of felt phoned in a little bit, which is why Scream 3 is not in my top of the franchise. But yeah, like overall, like I love the Ghostface, how they added like technology, like the voice changing in the mask instead of like always just having the little handheld device. It was like connected to the mask somehow. I thought that was a really cool way to improve the technology.
Yeah, that was fun. The technology throughout the movie, like with
Auto
the video
locks.
doorbells and the on and off the smart locks and the smart homes, you might think that, well, a Scream movie wouldn't really work in 2022, but they found ways to keep it fresh and keep it moving along and to
Yeah,
introduce those new adverse technological fields, kind of, if you will.
yeah,
That's kind of tough to do in making a horror movie.
like cloning a cell phone or something like that. You think you're talking to some person, but you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that was a nice way because everyone was always like, "Oh, caller ID, you'll know who it is." Click. Sorry, getting off the phone with you. But yeah, I thought that was really cool.
So overall, I
5
loved
stars.
it. I give it 5 stars also. Um, as you can see in our ranking here that's coming up, how highly I think of it. But so I think we've covered Scream 2022, Scream 5, whatever you want to call it. We've covered it. Now I must like submerge you in my theory for Scream 6.
Okay, and I'm ready to
Okay.
shoot it down.
You ready for this? I've spent a lot of days cooking this
Okay.
up in the noggin. All right. Scream 6. This movie was a massive success. It's been given genuinely really high reviews. People love it. The fans love it. It's been a blockbuster hit in the theaters. They're going to make more, right? We know that. Movie companies love to make money. Boom. Scream guaranteed you money. So we're coming back for a Scream 6. Don't even ask me at that. We're coming back for another one.
Yeah, at some point they'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they're gonna make, what's it gonna be, Stab 9 in the movies, I think is what we're up to, because the last one was Stab 8. So I think this one will be Stab 9 based off of Scream 5. Okay. So when Scream 6 comes out, it's going to be centered around Kirby. It's going to be back in it. Hayden Panettiere is going to come back into it. They're not going to tease that and then not do anything with it. I think that's just a very subtle hint at what's to come. Okay. So Kirby comes. We're going to get the gang back together. We're going to get Sydney back. We're going to get Gail back. I believe Tara is going to come back from Scream 2022 and her sister. Boom. I think they're back throwing some new characters. Okay. Now here's where things get fun. Here's where it gets fun. Matthew Lillard gets his wrist. Stu is alive. And you know what Stu has been up to? Ask me what Stu has been up to.
I don't want to, but what's he been up to?
Stu sent Richie, the Ghostface killer from Scream 5. He sent him to kind of get things going again because Stu is running a cult of Ghostface killers. That's what he's doing. He's gotten his whole people that love Stab so much, that love the story, and he's brainwashing them, right? So he's sending out people to, like, Richie was the first one that Stu sent out, okay? Because where did Richie and Amber meet? Online, on a subreddit, okay? What was the call at the very beginning of the movie? Ghostface was saying, hey, I know your mom from a group. Guess what group that is? It's a cult led by Stu, okay? And in Scream 6, Stu is going to make his appearance out of darkness, if you will. Sidney Prescott, Easter egg there. Out of darkness, from behind the keyboard, from behind the cult, and come back to Woodsboro to continue his killing. Okay, go.
Okay, I'm going to shoot that down really fast. One, the group was probably an AA meeting that she was alleging to, or like a meeting like that. That's one thing. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be a Ghostface cult meeting, because that's not something you would be like, hey kid, I'm in a Ghostface meeting. No. So 1, 2, Stu is dead. You don't survive getting stabbed, prime timed, aka a TV from the 90s, smashed on your head and electrocuted after you've been also, like, stabbed a bunch of times. 2, so he's dead. Also, Gail's a reporter, right?
Mhm.
Okay. You would have thought, like, if Stu was alive, they would have mentioned it in any of the other movies.
Oh no, this is deep, like dark underground, like dark web stuff. Nobody
so
knows
how
he was
would
alive.
his body have disappeared? There would have been a trial if he'd survived.
Dude,
They
okay, dude.
him off.
It's 2022, man. It's not that tough to get facial surgery. It's
Oh,
not that tough to make yourself be somebody else. Get yourself some fake passport. Get yourself a fake ID. Bam, you're somebody new.
It was the 90s when he got the TV smashed on his head and all the blood loss and being stabbed. Stu is dead. And if he is alive, I am done with the franchise and not watching any more movies. Because
so, and my theory is correct. You're like, no, I'm done with Scream.
I'm done. If they bring Stu back as a ghost, like a spirit, like, you know, a hallucination, if you will, kind of like they did with Billy in 5, like that, I'd be cool with that. That works. But you don't survive stabbing, shot, TV dropped on your head, electrocuted, and blood loss in the 90s.
The dude's tough, man.
You're not tough enough to survive your head getting smashed by a 90s TV. Those things were like giant ton trucks.
Did you ever have to like move those like giant TVs like for your mom and dad? Like
that's why I'm saying you wouldn't survive if that's smashed on your head.
It was the toughest thing ever to move those like box TVs.
Yeah, ergo, Stu is dead. But I like what you're thinking of, some mastermind controlling a bunch of Ghostface fans online.
I just think like, cool. Yeah, I think that's like a natural kind of progression for Scream. If they don't want to keep doing just the, you know, the Ghostface killers, like who's it going to be? Where's it coming from? If they actually want to have like an actual organization or an actual something that they can focus on for maybe more than just one movie, I think like kind of like a cult is a good way to go.
Yeah, but not with Stu. Stu is dead.
Stu is the leader of it. You're going to be so upset when I'm correct in 2 years when Scream 6 comes out.
A Stu copycat or a Stu like fanboy makes sense. Stu's cousin, who's also mentally talented.
Stu's cousin, Vinny.
Yeah, like somebody, like I'd be cool with that. Just Stu is dead because you don't survive that and not have the people know about it. Okay, he survived and he got dragged away somehow and like escaped. He'd be dead from all the blood loss, like creeping out of the woods.
Dewey survives how many stabbings? 9 stabbings, and he's still alive.
Stabbings.
Well, not now, but
stabbings, not head smashed by a TV and electrocuted. It's a little different. His body was like, whoa, I'm on the ground, I'm electrocuted.
Stu has become the new Jason Voorhees.
Well, Jason Voorhees is also like a supernatural killer, whereas Ghostface
that's what Stu has turned into now. He's a supernatural ghost killer.
Nope, I'm out.
No, so I'm sticking with it, man. That's my review for my theory for Scream 6. I'm gonna stick with it until I am proven wrong. Okay,
let's hope you're not proven right. But yeah, I'm cool with Kirby coming back. I'm cool with Mark Patrick Dempsey showing up.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be cool if Mark was involved.
To save Sydney again from a killer. Yeah, I just hope like that Sydney doesn't die in any of the movies, but if they keep bringing her back, eventually they might kill her off, which I'm hoping they don't. But I'm hoping like these new what would you call them? Because they're not the legacy characters. Because
just
the legacy.
I can't remember the daughter of Billy Loomis. I can't remember her name.
It was Sam and
Sam. Yeah, Sam and Tara.
Sam Carpenter and somebody, Tara Carpenter,
wasn't it? Tara.
Yeah.
So I think
that John Carpenter's kids.
Yeah. I think Tara, Jenna Ortega's character. Yeah. I think she was phenomenal. She completely knocked it out of the park. I think Jenna Ortega is on the verge of blowing the F up. So I wouldn't be okay with them killing Sydney, but if they're gonna find a new like girl that's gonna be there for all of them, like a new focus, I think Jenna Ortega's character could handle it.
Yeah, I
Doesn't
think
mean I want to see that, but I
Yeah.
think she could handle it. I think Jenna Ortega is that good.
Yeah, I think though instead of bringing back the legacy characters again, even though they might do some of that, they would focus on I think the new characters they introduced and try to keep the story going more from that way to like branch it and set it apart. Like this was
Probably.
like the gap, the one that connected them both,
Yeah.
and then they can keep going with like the new characters and not feel like they're messing with Wes's legacy
Yeah.
because instead they've have these new characters that they have introduced.
I see that. No matter what happens, I just don't want to see them bring the legacy characters back and then to be killed within like the first 15 minutes. Let's not do that. If you're going to bring them back fully. If you're not going to bring them back, leave them out, you know?
Yeah. Like that's what I think they might do also, is just like, cause like they brought Dewey back and one of the legacy characters died obviously, but like, so if you do it, don't just bring back, oh, now Gail's here and Gail's the one that dies,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Like, don't just do that like for shock value, but yeah, I agree.
You talked about Scream 2022. We've talked about theories for Scream 6. Let's talk about the franchise rankings overall.
Okay, starting with 5 or number 1?
Let's start with number 5.
Okay, number 5 for me is Scream. Number 3, I think we differ on this a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because one thing, the way they like brought Dewey back for his little cameo, I was like, he predicted he was gonna die and knew he was gonna die before that. I thought it was kind of cheesy the way they did that. And it's the only Scream with only one killer. And he's kind of like his motivation for killing isn't as great.
It's such a lame killer, man.
In some of the other movies, like, yeah. So Scream 3 is my number 5.
So my number 5 is probably an unpopular opinion. Whatever. My number 5 is Scream 2. I just don't think it lives up. It's still a good movie. I still like it. It's still 4 stars for me. I just don't think it lives up as much as I wanted it to the original. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, I hate how they handled Randy's death. And there's some other parts of the movie. I don't like the big singing on the tables at the cafeteria scene. I just think it's like so cringe. But
Pretty funny.
That's just my opinion. So number 5 for me would be Scream 2.
My number 4 is your number 5. Scream 2 is my number 4. I think the killer's motivation, I liked how they brought back I like how they did a Friday the 13th kind of vibe with one of the killers being Billy Loomis's mother, and that whole aspect, and they brought in like those kind of revenge movies and tied it all in that way.
Yeah, that's cool. I do like that. I wish that Lauren Metcalf would have had more time on screen before we realized that she was Billy Loomis's mom. You know, I wanted to get to know her a little bit more. But that's just me.
For me, like if you knew too much about her, though, it would give it away that she was the killer, because that's kind of why I like the shock value. You don't know she's the killer, and then boom, she's the killer, and here's why. I like how they like just threw it all in and made you go, whoa.
That's true. I get that. So number 4 for me would be Scream 3. It's not a good movie. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not a great movie, but it's incredibly cheesy at times. Like you said, the killer is lame. Roman is the worst killer in the franchise, and it turns into a freaking soap opera at the end of it when he's like going on about how he's related to Sydney and stuff. Just like, dude, I'm not watching Days of Our Lives. Just get on with it. So that pisses me off, but I find enough enjoyment in it. I like how they're filming the new Stab movie on the set of Woodsboro, and the legacy characters are back on the set. of Woodsboro instead of being in the actual town. So there's a lot of cool meta things like that. And we are introduced to Mark. I do like Mark as a character. So for those reasons, it comes in number 4.
Okay. Number 3 for me is Scream number 4.
I think we're the same now from now
yeah,
on.
we're
right?
the same.
Yeah.
So Kirby was a nice character to introduce. And it has like the cool technology vibes with like the GoPro cameras, and like the intro I thought was pretty fun because it was like those movie trailers over and over again, and it's got all these fun little vibes, and like the killers like pretty scary, like if you think about, because like they're just normal dudes and like you don't really suspect them.
Yeah, I like Scream 4. I love it. I loved it when it came out. I think it's a lot of fun. I think Emma Roberts does a great job as Jill. It introduced a lot of fun new characters to the franchise, like Deputy Hicks. It introduced her. It introduced Kirby. So it's fun, in my opinion. I love it. Number 3.
Yep. Number 2, Scream 5.
Scream 5, Scream 2022, for all of the reasons we just talked about.
Yeah.
And of course,
number 1 is the OG from 1996. Scream.
Nothing's going to top that. Nothing's going to beat the OG. I mean, obviously, when everybody does a Scream franchise ranking, we all know the Scream, the original, is going to be number 1 because it is the best movie. It is the superior movie out of all of them.
Well, even if it's not superior, it was the first, even though in this case it is superior. And I just love how they took the character of Sidney Prescott and they like did the whole role reversal on who the final final teenager heroine of the movie should be. How it like flips the script on gender roles in like horror movies, how she's like, horror movies suck because of all these reasons, and then like, well, these are why someone might have to do those reasons. And I just love all those little dynamics that it plays on and stuff throughout the film.
Yeah, and it was at the time, obviously we all know it now, but at the time, having the reveal of 2 killers was really a surprising thing. Like nobody was expecting that when Scream came out. So that was really cool. And the acting, the performances we have in there, like, are you kidding me? It's top notch, man. Matthew Lillard as Stu is incredible. We got Drew Barrymore, but the movie is so good that Drew Barrymore dies in the first 15 minutes, but we're okay with it because we still have everybody else in the movie, you know?
And
so,
it was like that shock value. Like, you're like, what? Anything can happen? They just killed Drew Barrymore.
Yeah. So it's probably the most quotable horror movie, in my opinion. Like, I'm always randomly saying quotes from the original. It still holds up to this day. It's still a ton of fun.
And yeah, you had breakout performances by Nev Campbell, Skeet Ulrich as Billy Loomis. It's all around.
And you have Rose McGowan also gives an awesome breakout performance in that also.
Yes.
Like the only 90s star that I wish was in it that wasn't is like Alicia Silverstone.
Scream 6. There you go.
There you go. Bring Alicia Silverstone to Scream 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all for you. There's our review of Scream 5, Scream 2022, our theories on Scream 6, and our franchise ranking. As always, let us know down below what your favorite scary movie is and what your favorite Scream is. Have you seen Scream 5? Did you like it? Let us know. Do you have a theory for Scream 6? Do you think Stu is still alive, or am I just being an idiot?
He's an idiot.
Yes, but for different reasons. As always, you can follow us on Instagram at Sons of Haddonfield. Our personal accounts are Horror Sensei.
And I Beck Joe.
You can follow us on Letterboxd at Husker Sensei.
And I Beck Joe.
And of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Haddonfield Sons. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
And remember, check your caller ID. And if they say, what's your favorite movie? Be like, let's have a conversation about it. But don't kill me, please.
That was great.
Thank you. Because that's what
Okay.
happens in the Scream movies.
I'm just going to end it there. I'm not even going to say the goddamn lobster roll part.
You just did. You said it.